What if I told you that the media, Hollywood, Terminator, Skynet, literally any picture ever painted of AI, artificial intelligence, was completely false, and it was a lie perpetrated in order to keep you in a state of fear? Well, that's my belief, and in this video, we're going to talk about it. Welcome to the rabbit hole. I've always identified as a critical thinker. I don't take sides based on a feeling, a bias. I really try hard in my life to be objective, not subjective. I grew up in Pennsylvania in a closed-minded cult where if you didn't believe a certain way, you were cut off and thrown out of the house. I escaped that environment in the middle of the night when I was 21 years old, and I have literally built my life on the ability to critically think, including building up a 100-person writing agency and selling that back in 2021. I believe it's really important to find out who you are and play to your strengths your whole life, because life becomes so much better when you get to do what you love. But it's the truth. So I am a type 8. I'm a challenger. I am somebody that enjoys a good challenge. If I don't have a challenge to work on during the day, that day isn't fun. So relaxation and vacations are actually very hard for me. So when I went into writing, I turned it into a business, but I never banked on writing as the end all be all. I never said, I am a writer and that's what I'm going to be till the end of time. Even though the main thing I love to do is actually sit down and write. That is the core of all the things that I've done since, like creating content, filming this YouTube video. It took me 7 years to film videos and go speak on stages. I was running a successful $1 million business. And on year 7, one of my mentors, Joe Pitzi from Content Marketing Institute, told me, Julia, speaking is just another form of writing. And he completely changed my mind and made me look at speaking and appearing on camera differently. And so now I just see it as another and sometimes even superior form of communication. So anyway, all that to say, I put tons of time, energy, and passion into building a human-only writing journey. And I was a complete naysayer to AI because not only was it, of course, a threat to me, an alternative, right? You fight the competition. You want to be better than the competition. Don't use AI. Use me instead. But not only was it competition, it was far inferior to my abilities as a writer. I could show up and write content or teach writers how to write content that converted, did amazing things for our clients, that built masses of traffic, that took them 10x forward in traffic and revenue. But all that changed in late 2022 when GPT got so good that it became known as ChatGPT, which was a new platform, a new way to interact with artificial intelligence. And ChatGPT became the world's fastest adapted technology, getting over 100 million users in a few short weeks. Thankfully, I had sold my writing agency a year before then because I knew with the iterations I saw of GPT, it was just a matter of time until it got potentially as good as a human. That thought was in the back of my mind. Did I say that out loud? Hell no. Not once did you hear me say that. I was mostly anti-AI. And since January of 2023, I've been working full-time in AI. I've had the chance through my work at Content at Scale as the president and partner to see firsthand how people are using AI to get ahead by leaps and bounds. We have incredible case studies like Keith Brzee, who runs the Traffic Dojo, who helps sites like Dr. Axe, huge realtor sites. He's built up the Dave Ramsey sites. He's using Content at Scale's AI platform to drive masses of traffic, and that traffic converts because the content is good. It's well researched. A human has previewed it before it's gone out, but the heavy lifting is taken off by an AI that is equal to the task. And that's important, right? You can't just open up ChatGPT and expect it to generate a piece of content that'll convert. Content at Scale is a custom tool stack built for the SEO marketer to produce high-ranking, high-converting content. Another case study I recently recorded was with Richard Keach at Nexcare. Nexcare, as you know, if you're in the US, is a huge medical health clinic company with hundreds of locations throughout the US. So that domain has a lot of strength, and they are primarily using Content at Scale's AI to now drive traffic to the site, and they're seeing incredible results without having to hire armies of humans. So naturally, being a critical thinker, my work at Content at Scale has led me down the rabbit hole, and I want to share that rabbit hole with you, because that rabbit hole has led me to the firm conclusion that I believe media, Hollywood, and every movie ever created, that horror movie Megan or the Terminator series or Elysium, all of those movies depicting robots and artificial intelligence that are completely nefarious and evil and take over the world and create a rotten state of dystopia for humanity is a lie perpetrated by one of our greatest enemies, a profit-driven entity with no regard for morals, ethics, and values. That is one of the greatest enemies of mankind. But it's up to us to be different, right? To not be that profit-driven, uncaring, demoralized, desensitive, zero empathetic for the rest of humanity type of company or entrepreneur. And the truth is, when you look at history and when you look at entrepreneurs and leaders, not everyone here is nefarious. In fact, down through history, the reign of evil doesn't last long. Does history repeat itself? Absolutely. All you gotta do is look at history. So anyway, I want to share this rabbit hole with you, and it starts back in 2012 when Nvidia revolutionized the GPU. So the reason we have artificial intelligence at a level it is today, where I'm telling you every single week, there's brand new AI models like text to video that Sora is. That's OpenAI's latest release, which they did without any fanfare, without a dev day, without any marketing. In fact, Sam Altman kind of left in the middle of the press release and said he had other things to do while they were dropping a brand new AI model. And if you jump down the rabbit holes of other amazing YouTubers like Wes Roth, if you listen to Peter Diamandis, Elon Musk, I truly believe that we probably have all the parts of artificial general intelligence already in our hands. I think all of those pieces of the artificial general intelligence brain are in the hands of the OpenAI people and Sam Altman. So is AGI here? I believe it already is. I just don't think it's economically possible for them to release it. And that's why Sam Altman is seeking an $8 trillion investment from world leaders so he can develop the computing power necessary to run AGI at a world level. But we're seeing incredible things drop now on a monthly, if not weekly basis, where even Google caught up to this race with Gemini. But back to the rabbit hole. Back on November 2023, OpenAI launched custom GPTs. And with that launch, they positioned themselves into a new arena. Instead of just prompting to get content, OpenAI's goal is to build artificial general intelligence that benefits all of humanity. You didn't see this in the news, by the way, but you will read this statement on their About page. It's right there. They are out there that AGI is actually the goal, and they have hundreds of developers working towards it. So why would we doubt for a second that Sam Altman's $8 trillion investment wouldn't be put towards AGI? Now here's where it gets interesting. We're in an arms race where you have Google launching Gemini, which was light years ahead of Bard, so much better. You have OpenAI dropping Sora without even so much as a conference to announce the release of an earth-shattering brand new AI model. You have Nvidia absolutely reinventing how computing is done. Jensen Huang basically was on stage with the World Economic Forum and leaders from multiple countries saying this is the end of general computing. We are in accelerated computing. And we might feel that this is overnight and all of a sudden, what? AGI is here? Humans can't even compare to where artificial intelligence will be. 100% of all jobs will be automated in the next century. By the way, it could be as soon as 50 years. It could be as soon as 40 years. If we cross-reference how fast AI has exploded in capabilities and new models and AI capabilities as a whole. But remember, in 2012, Nvidia had its GPU Breakthrough, where GPUs actually achieved human-like accuracy in tasks like recognizing a cat in an image. For the first time in 2012, GPUs were able to do that. That single effort cost Nvidia $30 billion and took them 10 years to achieve. And when Jensen Huang built one of the world's first supercomputers, it was Elon Musk that took notice and said, I want Nvidia computing. I want their hardware. And said he wanted to work with Jensen and Nvidia. And now Nvidia is building new chips, which are able to handle something they call transformer operations. This is the foundation for services like ChatGPT and the reason ChatGPT can work and function. Jensen has called his companies' capabilities, the iPhone moment of generative AI. So it's not that suddenly overnight AI was dropped out of the sky and it's here. What you might not be aware of is this has taken us decades and billions of dollars, and we're finally achieving massive breakthroughs where computer chips are able to handle AI. And now it's simply a matter of multiplication. We are going to see an arms race where companies are going to win, and then they're going to win bigger, and then the next tech company will win even bigger, and then there's going to be a continual arms race until we have AGI. What is AGI? How will that affect humanity as we know it? What will it mean when we don't have to even sit at our computer and run processes anymore because we could deploy an entire bot on our behalf to send Slack messages for us, emails, all the functions we normally do? What will we be doing? If you haven't heard, there's this idea called universal basic income. And I think there's a lot of good, but also a lot of potential for evil and mayhem and even dystopia with this idea where the rich will be taxed because they won't need humans. And to put it in a nutshell, it's the idea of taxing big companies that no longer need to employ humans because AI has arrived at a level where humans will never outperform it or even come close to the performance level of AI. And that's going to be artificial general intelligence and artificial superintelligence. When we're there, and I have no doubt that we will be, in fact, we might already be there and it's just not released yet, then companies won't really need humans. So what will we be doing? We could potentially have the opportunity for the first time in our life to get to do what we love without worry, without fear. But that's only if this power falls in the right hands. So we need to be watching the countries, watching the world leaders who are talking about this. We need to see where the power falls. I'll tell you, I'm not convinced the American government has our best interests at heart. I'm looking at other governments building forms of artificial intelligence that codify their culture. I'm seeing what other nations are going to be doing with this new form of intelligence. How will they develop rules and regulations for their country? How will society adapt? I think the reason that this future could be bright, an idea that comes directly from the work that I'm doing, where I'm seeing people freed up from doing the minutia that they never wanted to do anyway. Where, back in my writing agency, we would go through 500 applicants to find 10 writers that even wanted to write, that even enjoyed sitting at the desk. But then when we gave those 10 writers the topics from clients and the articles they had to write, they dropped like flies because it was still out of what they liked to do. The topics weren't fun. They had to write in a dry style to match the tone of voice. So in the end, their creativity and their humanity was killed by that work. Here's the idea I want to leave you with. What if AI removed all the elements that stop us from being human? That's where I want to end this. And I want you just to live in that idea. Don't let fear take over. Don't let the clickbait and the media and the Hollywood portrayals of the scare of this thing eating your brain coming and ripping houses apart, infiltrating data systems. Yes, all that's possible, but that fear should not stop us from the excitement and the brightness and the joy of what is possible if we thoroughly do our due diligence and learn how to adapt. And I'm not just talking content, although that's where I started. And I'm seeing incredible results, not having to lift a finger, and my blog goes out almost on autopilot. And it's as good as if I wrote it. I'm not mad about that. I'm saving so much time, energy, worry. I'm more creative. I remove myself from the minutia of blogging almost entirely. And I'm asking myself, how can I do that with my books? How can I do that with my video production? How can I do that with a simple task like collecting a folder of speaker images and sending that out? How can I automate almost everything? That is what we need to ask, because that is what AI will be able to do. And it's just a matter of time. I think that time is going to be way closer than we think. There's the rabbit hole. And if you're at the end of this video and you're like, well, Julia, you really didn't give me any answers. That wasn't my goal. My goal was to get you to think differently, because if you can start to change your perspective and you can get rid of those Skynet, Terminator, ridiculous images that the media has been feeding us for decades, while this technology has been developed for decades by innovative people, why do we continue to look that way at the media, at Hollywood, at fear? And why aren't we looking this way? I would encourage you to start listening in to Twitter Spaces, now called X, where Elon Musk, Peter Diamandis, other MIT researchers, geneticists, physicists are talking about the future of AI. And I hope to bring you those conversations. So if you follow me and you subscribe, you're going to see whether it's a new podcast or we speak about it on my existing podcast, Future Tense, an AI show, which you should definitely subscribe to, streaming on every platform you listen to podcasts. I co-host it with our AI director at Content at Scale, the amazing Jeff Joyce, who is so incredibly knowledgeable about these things as well. He works with multiple LLMs daily and tests these models to see if they're viable for the public, and we have 3,000 users. So there's quite a market for us to test on just in our user base at Content at Scale. So it's up to you to find the answer. Don't look for me to feed you the answer here. I want you to think differently and then search for the answer yourself and ask yourself, with everything you do, what could I potentially research? What could I potentially look up that would be a replacement for me right now and the automation of what I'm doing, so I get to step away more and actually get to be a human? It sounds very utopian, but the idea I have in my mind that I'm starting to see, again, based from actually working in AI and listening not to the media clickbait and not to Hollywood novelty and fiction, which is completely untrue, but to actually listening to the people that are in the field. The idea is starting to come to me that we could have a utopia of possibilities here, where with the right AI set up to replicate us at work, we get to be unchained humans. And we have been chained at our desks since the Industrial Revolution. It's a problem. So that's where I want to leave you today. No answers, but questions that you should be asking yourself, because you're a human with a very smart brain. And I think just some of us need to use it more. Thank you for listening to my channel and this video. Please subscribe, like, comment, whatever you want to do. I am here. So if you have questions, thoughts, I'd love to hear them. Like I said, it's my goal to think objectively, consider things from all perspectives, not just one bias. And that is the voice I hope to bring you on this channel. Thanks for watching. Julie McCoy signing out.